I could do this all day long, but I don't have the time to vibe like that, so we're gonna keep it going with our regularly scheduled programming. House of the Dragon. Blood, guts, gore, nudity, and more. What else could you ask for? If I, Lord Sugar, first of his name, of House Negro. I thought it was crazy putting the script. It's even crazy when you say it out loud. Of House Negro, shall so humbly give you a summary of this show. It would go like this. What the hell is wrong with this family? And what the hell is wrong with these people? Oh my goodness. Now, I'm aware that the show began airing in late August and finished airing as of 23rd of October. So you may be wondering, so why are you reviewing it now? And here's why. Put simply, I could not be asked to watch this on a week-to-week basis. There's so many shows to catch up on. This thing's an hour each every week. Sometimes I'm just working on other things. I don't care that much. And it's just like, look, as much as I love the original Game of Thrones, I feel like in the same vein, this show, series, franchise, whatever you want to call it, was not made to be, you know, cherry-picked week by week. If anything, I feel like it's best enjoyed when you just binge it all in one go. That's how I enjoyed the OG Game of Thrones, and that's how I think most people enjoyed it. I could be wrong, but I think that's how we enjoyed it. Oh yeah, if I keep sweating, mind your business. It's like, I checked my phone and bro, it's like 26, 27 degrees. I was like, literally just before I started recording, I was like, huh, why is it so hot? And I looked at the weather, I was like, that's why. Perks of living in Melbourne, huh? There's a lot of content to cover in this show. 10 hours worth so, in fact. So, you know, unless you want me to make this video 10 hours to gain my time back, one, that's not happening, but also, two, I have some sort of self-respect for both you and I, so we're gonna save each other that. So I'm gonna cherry pick the parts most relevant to me, this video, and the best parts that I deem from the show. In the beginning, you got King Viserys I and the Targaryens, aka the House of Dragons, ruling over the Seven Kingdoms. The main issue of this entire show arises with his daughter Rhaenyra after his wife gets cut off like a watermelon. There's no other good way to put it. Also, if you're wondering, yes, she got cut off like a watermelon because, you know, she pretty much she was like, yo, I can't give birth to this kid. And he was like, I want a son. And then old dude and everyone else was pretty much like, yo, if you want a son, we can do this. You want, he's pretty much like,
we can do this the easy way?
Or we can do it the hard way. And it was essentially, one of them is going to survive. So if you don't want a baby, cool, keep your wife. If you want the possibility of getting a son, then your wife gotta go. And he looked at his wife looked at him, he looked at his wife once again. I'm pretty sure his wife probably told him to piss off. And then he was like, bring out the knives. Okay, not exactly like that, but she did end up getting cut like watermelon. He held her hand, trying to make it all lovey-dovey, be like, this is for the good of the kingdom. And she's like, hey, yo, what are you doing, fam? I can always give you birth to another baby, like, chill out. And he's always like, and I can always have other wives, so. Both are true statements, but I digress. So, since King Viserys stillborn can't be king, for reasons that I don't think need explaining, he puts his daughter Rhaenyra as a future queen, which has its consequences, like a lot of consequences in this show. To put it in perspective, it's the ongoing theme of this entire show. Second half more so on the legitimacy of her sons, you know, them being bastards and all, but this is like the main thing throughout the entire show, and it was pretty much like a woman ruling. A woman.
Women.
To put it in perspective, even the other women were like, a woman. Men, children, women were like, a woman? Really? Are you sure? Are you sure? That speaks volumes. And I'm not even like trying to get on this whole woke thing because like it's a different time and it just makes sense. But it's just funny. It's funny, kinda true, kinda messed up because it's literally the entire first season, but it is what it is. Season 8 of Game of Thrones may have ended back in 2019, but I promise you this prequel did not forget where it came from or what its ancestors did. Everything from the hookers, nights, tournaments, nudity, and good old family bonding, aka incest. I can't believe that's a sentence that came out of my mouth. That's not even, part of that's not even on the script. Oh, yuck. Why? Why is there so much incest in this one season? Like, I'm not opposed to it being a thing, because, you know, they're, like, you know, representing the books, the timeline, the period, da-da-da-da. And it's complete fiction, so I'm not holding against it. But why is there so much incest in one season? Like, unless I've got young person's dementia, from the 8 seasons of the OG Game of Thrones that I remember, there wasn't nearly this much incest in one season. Like, the most we had was what, Cersei and Jaime Lannister, and that was about it. And probably about 1 or 2 scenes I can mainly think of, like prominent scenes. Like, this show, it's like every episode or every second episode, it's like other people, you know, friends, colleagues, nah, family. Why would I want someone that has nothing to do with my family when I could just, you know, marry someone? Oh, I didn't want to finish that sentence, bro. Why? I almost don't want to read the books because I feel like there's probably much more that they couldn't do in the show. But I'm talking about Rhaenyra and her love for daddy. I mean, sweet old uncle. Like, who needs to be saying daddy in the bedroom when you could be saying sweet old uncle? Because, you know. Like, why? Like, I don't even know which side of me is joking, which side of me is serious right now, because that's how split I am between the show. If you don't like uncles, then say hello, sister, like King Aegon did with his own. Yuck. Yeah, yet again, that did happen. I didn't even fully realize it myself until like halfway through the show, and I was like, wait, there. And it wasn't even until a scene where his sister mentioned it, and I was like, bluntly, and I was like, oh. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I hope I'm not the only one who's opposed to the whole incest thing. Like, okay, not it being a thing, but the vast amount of it, like, bruh. Or the more respectable one, as Rhaenyra's children did with their cousins. If anything, I think that's probably the most respectable one, because, you know, cousins, you can kind of say, like, you know, we're a bit more far off, but these are more like first cousins, so it's a kind of gross, but better than, you know, sister, uncle. My eyes, I don't know. As much as I don't like constantly have incest thrown in my face like the weather, it's not gonna stop me from watching the show, because if it did, I would have stopped watching the OG Game of Thrones. But also, like, the good parts of the show far outweighed the negative parts, and there were definitely some parts where I was like either some parts where I was like, alright, it's kinda slow, pick up the pace, or incest, or, but if I did, I feel like this would be such a downer, so I'm gonna keep this going. Before I go on the tirade, I'll mention a few positive notes to remind you guys that I actually do like the show, and I do love the franchise. I have 2 absolutely favorite scenes, one being in episode 3 and the other being in episode 8. In episode 3, you got Daddy, I mean Uncle Damon. I gotta stop making those jokes. Uncle Damon's best fight scene to this day. To this day, in the entire season / show, against the crab feeder and his people. He rolls in as if he's gonna surrender, but if you've ever watched Game of Thrones, or just this season alone, you know, it ain't going down like that. Especially if you know Damon's character. He ain't going down without a fight. I promise you that much. I promise you. As soon as the soldiers come and they lay down their guard thinking, oh, he's actually kind of good, you know, we'll bring him in as our prisoner. Damon is like, joke's on you. Boom. Brings out like surprise daggers, knives, whatever. I know he brought out a blade, and he started mowing these brothers down like there's no tomorrow. He said, mercy. say that for a week, bruh. Boom, boom, boom. Mercies for women and children. Boom, boom. Like, there was so much plot in this fight scene that at a certain point, I was kind of like, as badass as it is, I was like, this feels like I'm watching Dragon Ball Z, like, you know. Because I was like, is this guy not gonna get hit once? Like, to put in perspective, he was stabbing these guys left, right, dodging every swing, arrows coming in every direction. I think they had guys in the air just ready to drop bombs. He's dodging everything till he gets hit with like an arrow, I'm pretty sure, or like something laced with poison, and then it's kind of like, okay, reality starts to hit. Like, you know, one person cannot take down an entire army. even though he did get fairly close, I'll tell you that much, he did get very close. And, you know, while he's retreating, you know, not retreating, hiding in a safe spot, the soldiers find him and they pretty much caught him lacking. They're like, oh, what's up? We got you. And the moment they're about to off him, reinforcements come in and he's like, joke's on you once again. So he goes straight for the head, aka the crab feeder. And one of the coolest scenes towards the end of episode 3, I think it's the ending credit, where, or just before the credits, where Damon comes out and he's rolling out with his like blade in one hand, and then he's holding half, I was about to say the head, half of the crab feeder, his guts just spilling out everywhere, blood everywhere, and he's pretty much like, job done, job finished. Like, you know when Kobe was like, job not finished? This is a complete opposite. He's like, job finished, poof, tossed him away like it was nothing. Like, the music, the build up, everything, the score has to be one of the best scenes in the season so far. Like, when I saw it, I was like, I'm calling it best part so far, best part.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
My other favorite scene is when King Viserys, towards his dying days, comes to give the best speech in this season so far. Or, not season so far, because season is done, but the show so far. Oh, man, this speech is amazing. He opens up with heartfelt words and pretty much says what the audience, or I can comfortably at least say for me, what we are feeling and thinking at that very moment. I'm gonna paraphrase what he said for the most part, so bear with me. Get your heads out of your own asses and make up. Y'all a family.
Act like it.
And then he has one of the best quotes along with his brother, which I'll mention in a second, where he said, if not for yourselves, then do it for this old man who loves you all dearly.
It both gladdens my heart and fills me with sorrow to see these faces around the table. The faces most dear to me in all the world, yet grown so distant from each other in the years past. My own face is no longer a handsome one, if indeed it ever was. But tonight, I wish you to see me as I am. Not just a king, but your father, your brother, your husband, and your grandsire, who may not, it seems, walk for much longer among you. Let us no longer hold ill feelings in our hearts. The crown cannot stand strong if the house of the dragon remains divided. But set aside your grievances. If not for the sake of the crown, and for the sake of this old man, who loves you all so dearly.
And he's pretty much saying this to his daughter, his brother, his wife, his kids, his daughter's kids, aka grandkids, nieces, nephews, everything. Like, bruh, it's insane. Like, there's so much build up and tension. And for at least, what I'd like to say, for at least a minute to 5, which felt like an eternity, there was peace in the show. It felt like, even though it was fake, it felt like there was peace. It was like the shut up and just chill out, bro. Chill out. There's gonna be a time for all that, but chill out. And I'm pretty sure everyone looked at each other at the table like, you know, alright, maybe we should chill out for a bit. And they kinda did try, kinda. But I'm pretty sure they all had the underlying understanding that once King Viserys goes, it's war. which very much did happen right at the end of this episode. The end of his speech, you know, him saying, "Do it for this old man who loves you dearly," made me gain so much more respect for the old man, because he had so many shortcomings, and you know, I mean, sure, he had a lot of optimism, naivety. I have some of that as well. But in a sense, the second half of the show, or at least actually both the first and second half of the show, technically wouldn't even be a thing if he just admitted, hey, Rhaenyra's children are bastards, or you know, maybe Rhaenyra shouldn't have been queen. You know, save all the drama. But then again, the show wouldn't have existed. So it's kind of like, what would you have? Like, you know, pick and take. But this made me gain so much more respect, because it's like he acknowledged those things going on, but he was just like, look, I know these things are going on, but like, chill out, like, you know, chill out. And he did this all while dragging himself around like a rotting corpse. That is no exaggeration. Everywhere he went, to that scene right there, to the bit where Rhaenyra and her children being called bastards at his throne, like everything. He dragged himself around, and there was a point in the scene where he's giving that heartfelt speech. The mask he was wearing at that point, the golden mask, drops off, and it reveals that half of his face, because ever since episode, I think 1 or 2, he had his fingers start rotting, other parts of his limbs start to rot, but then when that mask comes off, it's got to be one of the grossest things ever, but kind of cool, where half of his face is intact but saggy, the other half, his eye, part of his mouth, everything on one side is just completely scarred, disfigured, like it's not even there, and it literally looks like someone dug up a corpse with some like leftover skin on top of it. And now for the moments I would like to call what the hell is wrong with this family and these people. You know, I've heard of the term suck your mum.
All right, clear the stage. Suck your mum. We've got to clear the stage for the next fighters. Suck.
But I think Lady Alicent takes this to a whole new level when she goes from being Rhaenyra's best friend at one point, or good friend, to marrying her dad within an episode. Let that settle in. Oh yeah, there's also Prince Aemon, you know, Prince Aegon's younger brother, losing an eye over a stupid fight. See, parents, this is why you belt your children. I don't know why they removed all that thing. I'm not talking about excessive belting. I'm just talking about in moments like these where it's like the kid clearly needs a smack, instead of mommy being like, oh, come here, I'll give you a hug, da da da. Like, no, you give them a good 1, 2, 3, all of them, shut up, do your homework, da da da, boom. And this isn't even on the script, but I got reminded of it. There's a scene. Aegon is such a trash can, bro. He's such a dipshit. Like, I'm gonna just say it. He's such a dipshit, bro. There's a scene where he's just caught out there. I mean, there's so many scenes, really. He's like Joffrey from the OG show reincarnated into another human being. There's a scene where he's out of the watchtower and he's just out there wanking in front of everyone to see, completely naked. And I'm like, bro, what? In the OG show, we had Tommen just walk out the tower like, boom, you know, suicide by Mario jumping. But this guy taking it to a new level by, oh, good day. Hello, people. So many scenes. So many scenes. If I had $1 for every time these moments happen in the show, I would have a lot of money. But not a lot of money to pay off this therapy that I'm gonna need after watching this. Dun, 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 dun.